In this video, some bikes chase peak horsepower, some stack tech until they need software updates just to start, and then there is the Kawasaki KLR650. It runs forever, and it does not care what you throw at it. These are the 4 reasons why the KLR650 engine design still dominates decades after it first showed up. If you love bikes and real engineering that just works, drop a like and subscribe. Number 4. Cost-effectiveness and aftermarket support. The KLR650 does not play the luxury game. It starts at around $7,000. For that, you get a 652 cubic centimeter single-cylinder engine that does not break, does not demand special tools, and does not lock you into dealer-only service. Compare that to adventure bikes pushing $15,000 or $20,000, and the value becomes obvious fast. Parts are cheap too. A full gasket set costs under $50. A piston rings in under $100. Oil filters, air filters, spark plugs, all of it sits on shelves at regular motorcycle shops, not specialty importers. You are not hunting down obscure components or waiting 3 weeks for shipping from overseas. You walk into a shop, grab what you need, and you are back on the road. The aftermarket scene is massive. Companies like Progressive make suspension upgrades. Eagle Mike builds doohickey kits that fix the one weak point in older models. IMS offers big bore kits that bump displacement to 685 cubic centimeters, or even 705 cubic centimeters, adding 10 to 15% more power without sacrificing reliability. Top Gun makes better seats. Pelican cases bolt right on for storage. LED lights, crash bars, skid plates, hand guards, it all exists, it all fits, and it all costs less than you would expect. The single-cylinder design keeps manufacturing simple, and that simplicity flows down to the customer. Fewer parts mean fewer things to replace. Fewer sensors mean fewer failure points. Fewer proprietary components mean you are not trapped in a dealer ecosystem that charges triple for labor. This bike respects your wallet, and that respect keeps people coming back. The community around the KLR650 is huge too. Forums like ADV Rider and KLR650.net have thousands of threads covering every possible mod, fix, or upgrade. Someone has already done what you are thinking about doing, and they documented it with photos and step-by-step instructions. You are not figuring this out alone. You have decades of collective knowledge backing you up. Riders share tips on vibration reduction, oil consumption fixes, fuel efficiency tweaks, suspension tuning, everything. That kind of support does not exist for every bike. It exists here because the KLR650 has been around long enough to build a real following, and because the bike is simple enough that regular people can work on it without needing factory training. Stock suspension is soft. It bottoms out on rough trails if you push it. The seat is not winning comfort awards either, but both can be upgraded for a few $100, and once you do, the bike transforms. The fact that you can fix its weak points without spending thousands or voiding warranties is part of why it dominates. It is not perfect out of the box, but it is built to be made perfect by the person riding it. When you look at adventure touring, long-distance riding, or even just budget-conscious commuting, the KLR650 beats bikes that cost twice as much. It does not wow you with features. It wows you by doing the job year after year without complaint. That is cost effectiveness. That is why this engine design still holds the crown in its category. Number 3. Balanced performance and efficiency. The KLR650 engine is not a powerhouse. It makes between 36 and 39 horsepower depending on the generation. Torque sits around 35 to 39 pound-feet. Those numbers do not scream excitement, but they tell the wrong story if you stop there. This engine is not built for drag strips or track days. It is built for everything else, and in that world, it dominates. The bore is 100 millimeters. The stroke is 83 millimeters. That long stroke design creates a flat torque curve that delivers usable power from low RPMs all the way to highway speeds. You do not need to rev it to the moon to get moving. Twist the throttle, and it pulls. Twist it more, and it keeps pulling. That makes it perfect for off-road trails, where you need grunt to climb loose gravel or sand. It also makes it comfortable on highways, where you need sustained power to cruise at 75 or 80 miles per hour without screaming the engine. Most singles either excel off-road and suffer on pavement, or they handle pavement fine but choke on trails. The KLR650 does both without compromise. The dual overhead cam setup with 4 valves per cylinder ensures efficient airflow, combustion is clean, power delivery is smooth, and the engine does not fight you. Early models used a Keihin CVK40 carburetor. It worked, but it had flat spots and needed tuning for altitude changes. The 2022 and newer models switched to digital fuel injection with a 40mm throttle body and a 10-hole injector. That injector atomizes fuel into 60-micron droplets, which sounds technical, but what it means is better combustion, smoother throttle response, and improved fuel efficiency. Fuel economy sits around 42 to 43 miles per gallon. The tank holds 6.1 gallons. Do the math, and you get a range over 250 miles on a single fill. That is massive for a dual sport bike. It means you can ride all day, cover a serious distance, and still have fuel left when you roll into camp or the next gas station. For adventure riders crossing remote areas, that range is not a luxury, it is a necessity. The 5-speed transmission uses a return shift pattern. Shifts are smooth, gearing is well spaced, and the clutch is wet and multi-disc, meaning it does not slip, it does not fade, and it handles abuse without complaint. Top speed varies by generation. Older models hit 101 miles per hour. Newer ones sit closer to 90. That difference comes from gearing changes and emissions tuning, not engine weakness. The bike is not built to chase top speed. It is built to handle real-world riding. And in that context, 90 miles per hour is more than enough. Off-road, the low-end torque shines. You can climb steep hills without needing perfect clutch control. You can power through sand or mud without bogging down. You can navigate technical sections without constantly downshifting. The engine responds predictably, which builds confidence. On road, it cruises comfortably at 80 to 85 miles per hour. Wind protection is decent with an aftermarket windscreen. Vibrations are present but manageable, thanks to dual counterbalancers that reduce the typical big single buzz. Long highway stretches do not beat you up the way they would on a smaller or less refined single-cylinder bike. Compared to competitors, the KLR650 strikes a better balance. The Suzuki DR650 has a similar single-cylinder layout but less torque and rougher power delivery. The Yamaha Tenere 700 has a twin-cylinder engine with more power but worse fuel economy and higher complexity. The KTM 790 Adventure is faster and more exciting but drinks fuel, costs more, and demands more maintenance. The KLR 650 sits in the middle, doing everything well enough that you never feel like you are compromising. Emissions standards tightened over the years, and the switch to fuel injection helped the KLR 650 meet those requirements without losing character. The engine still sounds like a thumper. It still feels mechanical and direct. Modern electronics did not soften it into something boring. They just made it cleaner and more efficient. Performance is not about bragging rights with this bike. It is about capability. Can it handle a week-long trip through the mountains? Yes. Can it commute through city traffic? Yes. Can it tackle dirt roads, gravel trails, and fire roads? Yes. Can it keep pace on highways? Yes. Not many bikes can answer yes to all of those questions, and even fewer can do it while sipping fuel and running on basic maintenance. That versatility is why this engine design still dominates. Number 2. Simplicity and ease of maintenance. The KLR 650 engine does not hide behind complexity. It is a 4-stroke, single-cylinder, liquid-cooled design with a dual overhead cam and 4 valves. That is it. No variable valve timing, no ride-by-wire throttle on older models, no traction control nannies that need software updates. Just an engine that runs on mechanical principles, and that simplicity is a massive advantage. Valve adjustments can be checked in under an hour with basic tools. The valve cover comes off easily, the clearances are straightforward to measure, and adjustment shims are standard sizes available anywhere. You do not need a dealer to do this. You do not need special equipment. A feeler gauge, a socket set, and a manual are enough. Most riders can handle it themselves, and even if they do not, any competent shop can knock it out for cheap. The cam chain tensioner is spring-loaded, meaning it automatically adjusts as the chain stretches over time. Early models had an issue with the tensioner lever, nicknamed the doohickey, which could fail and cause catastrophic damage. Kawasaki updated the part in 2008, and aftermarket companies like Eagle Mike sell upgraded kits that eliminate the problem entirely. Install one, and it is done. You never think about it again. The cooling system is simple too. It is liquid-cooled with a radiator and fan, but the design avoids the fragility you see in some bikes where a single rock through the radiator leaves you stranded. The fan kicks in at low speeds to prevent overheating in traffic or on slow trails. Coolant changes are easy. The system holds about 2 quarts, and any standard motorcycle coolant works fine. Some riders install a thermo bob kit, which modifies coolant flow to help the engine warm up faster in cold weather. It is a 30-minute job that makes cold starts more pleasant. Oil capacity is 2.1 quarts. Oil changes take 15 minutes. Drain the old oil, swap the filter, pour in fresh oil, done. The bike runs fine on standard 10W40 motorcycle oil. You do not need synthetic unless you want to. You do not need special additives, just good quality oil and regular changes, and the engine runs forever. Air filters are foam, not paper. That means you can wash them, re-oil them, and reuse them indefinitely. No need to buy new filters every service. Just pull it out, clean it with soap and water, let it dry, apply foam filter oil, and reinstall. Takes 10 minutes and costs nothing. The clutch is wet and multi-disc, which means it runs in oil and does not need frequent adjustment. It is cable actuated, so no hydraulic system to bleed or maintain. If the cable stretches, you adjust it at the handlebar in 2 minutes with your fingers. No tools required. The carburetor on older models is a Keihin CVK40. It is simple, reliable, and easy to clean. If it gets gummed up from sitting, you pull the bowl, spray carb cleaner through the jets, and reassemble. 20 minutes, no drama. Fuel-injected models from 2022 onward are even simpler. The system self-adjusts for altitude and temperature. There is no tuning, no jetting, no fiddling. It just works. The electrical system uses capacitor discharge ignition, which is nearly bulletproof. The spark plug is a standard NGK that costs a few bucks. Plug changes take 5 minutes. The battery is a standard size available at any auto parts store. No proprietary nonsense. Tire changes, chain adjustments, brake pad swaps, all of it is basic. The chain is a standard 520 size. Sprockets are cheap and widely available. Brake pads are inexpensive and easy to replace. The front brakes use dual discs with dual piston calipers. The rear is a single disc. Nothing fancy, just functional and reliable. The engine is rubber mounted to reduce vibration transfer to the frame. That keeps bolts from rattling loose and reduces wear on fittings. It also makes long rides more comfortable. The rubber mounts are durable and rarely need replacement, but if they do, they cost under 50 bucks and take an hour to swap. Aftermarket support amplifies this simplicity. Big bore kits from IMS increase displacement to 685 cubic centimeters or 705 cubic centimeters, boosting power by 10 to 15% while reducing oil consumption. Installation requires basic mechanical skills and standard tools. No machine shop required. Suspension upgrades from companies like Progressive or Cogent Dynamics transform handling. Stock springs are soft, but aftermarket options stiffen things up for better off-road control or heavy loads. Installation is straightforward. Anyone who can change a tire can change springs. This engine does not demand expertise. It rewards basic competence. That accessibility is why so many people choose the KLR650 as their first adventure bike, and why so many keep riding it long after they could afford something fancier. When you are in the middle of nowhere and something breaks, complexity kills you. Simplicity saves you. The KLR650 understands that, and it is built accordingly. Number 1. Unmatched reliability and durability. The KLR650 engine has a reputation, and it is not subtle. Bulletproof, indestructible, unkillable. Those words get thrown around a lot in motorcycles, but with the KLR650, they stick because the evidence backs them up. This engine does not just survive, it thrives under conditions that would destroy most others. The single-cylinder design is inherently more reliable than multi-cylinder engines. Fewer cylinders mean fewer pistons, fewer rings, fewer valves, fewer cam lobes, fewer moving parts. Every additional component is another potential failure point. The KLR650 minimizes those points by design. One big cylinder does the work, and it does it without complaint. Liquid cooling prevents overheating in extreme conditions. Air-cooled engines struggle in slow traffic, desert heat, or long climbs. The KLR650 does not. The radiator and fan keep temperatures stable, and the system is robust enough that a small leak or low coolant level does not immediately kill the engine. It gives you time to fix it. The dual counterbalancers reduce vibrations that would otherwise accelerate wear on internal components. Big singles are known for shaking themselves apart, but the KLR650 tames that tendency. The engine still has character, still feels mechanical, but it is not rattling bolts loose or fatiguing parts prematurely. Real-world durability is legendary. Forums and social media are full of riders reporting 100,000 miles or more on stock engines. Some hit 150,000. A few surpass 170,000. That is not an exaggeration. These are documented cases with photos, service records, and detailed accounts. Dr. Gregory Fraser, a famous adventure rider, used a 2001 KLR650 for multiple global circumnavigations and logged over 1 million miles. That is not a typo. 1 million miles on engines that were rebuilt or replaced as needed, but always using the same basic design. The bike kept going because the engine design is fundamentally sound. A viral video from Fortnite showed a KLR650 submerged in a lake, pulled out, drained, and started right up. Another clip showed one running with a punctured crankcase temporarily sealed with a beer can and epoxy. These are not stunts designed to show off fragility. They are tests that highlight how much abuse this engine can take and still function. The military uses modified KLR650s in harsh environments because reliability is not optional. The U.S. Marine Corps, among others, relies on variants like the M1030M1 that run on diesel or jet fuel. Those bikes see sand, mud, extreme heat, and constant use. They do not fail. The bore and stroke dimensions, 100 mm by 83 mm, create a long stroke design that favors low-end torque over high RPM power. That means the engine is never pushed to its limits. It operates in a comfortable range where components last longer. Pistons do not slam as hard. Bearings do not spin as fast. Valves do not open and close as violently. Everything runs under stress, and that extends lifespan. The compression ratio is 9.8 to 1 in modern models, which balances power and longevity. Higher compression makes more power, but increases stress and heat. Lower compression sacrifices performance. The KLR650 sits in the sweet spot where you get enough power for real-world riding without beating the engine to death. Common issues exist, but they are minor and well documented. The doohickey tensioner in pre-2008 models can fail, but the fix is easy and cheap. Oil consumption on older high-mileage engines can increase, but carrying a spare quart handles it. Neither issue prevents the bike from running. They are maintenance items, not deal breakers. Kawasaki updated the engine over the years to address weak points. The 2008 redesign improved the doohickey and revised internal components for smoother operation. The 2022 relaunch added fuel injection, improving efficiency and emissions without sacrificing reliability. Each update refined the design, but the core stayed the same because the core works. The KLR650 dominates because it does not quit. You can ride it hard, neglect it a little, load it down with gear, and it keeps running. That reliability is not luck. It is not marketing. It is the result of a design philosophy that prioritizes function over flash, durability over peak performance, and simplicity over complexity. When you need a bike that will get you home no matter what, this is the engine you trust. So there you have it. 4 reasons why the KLR650 engine design still dominates after nearly 40 years. It is reliable, simple, balanced, and affordable. Not flashy, not fast, but unbreakable. Which reason matters most to you? And would you ride one? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this, hit that like button and subscribe for more.